So this morning, our topic is meet our staff. And would you rather I talk in the other mic? Okay. So we have several of our staff here. We have an organizational chart you have in front of you that'll help you. And Eileen's going to start and introduce herself and talk a bit about her position as Director of Operations for us. And then she'll pass it along to various members of the staff, and then we'll have a chance for some questions. But we hope this will give you a chance to see who is working for us 5 days a week when most of us aren't here, and on Sunday as well, and for them to get to know us. Eileen?
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having us here today. Appreciate getting to know everybody a little more every day. I'm the Director of Operations here. My name's Eileen Shad Deach. It's hyphenated. I usually go by Eileen Deach, but it is a hyphenated name. You might see it on my email returns back to you, just so that you understand that. I'm the Director of Operations. I work with the Space Use Committee, the Building and Property Committee, the Personnel Committee, the Finance Committee. So a lot of my responsibilities, besides supervising the staff, fall around those types of areas, whether it's a building renovation, a tenant lease, a new tenant coming into the building, plenty of financial issues. We've trained a new bookkeeper this year, Dave Mayer and myself. Yep. So we're so busy. I understand it's a small congregation, but boy, oh boy, are you guys very involved with this community, and we appreciate that. I wanted to just tell you a little bit about my background. Back in the day, I got my master's degree in public administration from SUNY Albany. And after getting my degree, my husband and I chose to relocate back to Buffalo, where he's from originally. I'm originally from Liverpool, New York, Central New York. And we started raising our family. I've always worked in not-for-profit human service organizations. Largely, my career has been around managing alcohol and substance abuse rehabilitation programs. After COVID, I chose to take a step back from my career, and my professional and personal journey brought me here to all of you. So thank you. I wanted to let you just know a little bit about myself. Mary had asked me to share a bit about our staff meetings. So I'm going to do that today. We have a staff meeting every week, every Tuesday at 1 o'clock. In the summer, we go to once every 2 weeks. And what we do at those meetings, I brought you a couple things I'm going to pass around. I usually prepare an agenda. I take the lead with it, but Lori reviews it. She provides feedback. She may add some things to it as well. And as I'm doing the agenda, I'm also taking notes, because even though there's an agenda, there's a lot that goes into what we do every week. So people just bring up other issues they may have as well. So when I'm preparing the agenda, I also pass out the notes from the prior week. So you'll see in this packet the agenda, and then you'll see last week's agenda where I've typed in the notes, so you get a sense of what the conversation with, which usually deviates quite a bit. The first thing we always do is we start with the event summary of the week. So attached to this packet, I'll just pass it around, is our 2-week schedule. And we've been, at least since I've been here, we've been really busy with different events. So we do need to go over that as a group, to sit down to say, do we understand what's happening in the building? Do we have the right amount of building coverage? Is reception on duty? Is maintenance on duty when they're supposed to be? Lori will always help us with congregational life. If there's anything special, like today is World Communion Day. So we want to make sure the flags are set up the way they need to be for that event. Or if we're changing that the reception is now going to be under Vera's door, that staff know that and they know to set up for that. So Lori's usually our link, Lori and Sally. We are updated. It used to be Mary would come to our staff meetings every week and update us on the session, what was going on with the session. That's now Sally's filling that role. And probably the last few months, Sally's also been adding like a DEIB agenda item for us, mostly around team building. So that's, I think we've gotten to know each other a bit better from that event. So thanks, Sally. I'm just going to go ahead and pass out. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to follow up with me after this meeting. I'd be happy to talk about why one thing is on a staff meeting and what one thing perhaps isn't. But here, I'll start with and now I'll turn over the mic now to Tyrone Reeves. He's our maintenance technician, and he's been with us for about a year now. Yep, about a year. So come on.
Do you want to start by mentioning why Joseph isn't here this morning?
Oh, yeah. So Joseph's not here. Thank you, Mary. He actually got married yesterday to Sharon. Yes, I thought I'll let him know your response. But yeah, so we're very happy for him. And next week I'm sure he's on his way to his honeymoon as I speak. So, all right. Thank you. What? Oh, I hope he's not.
Good morning. My name is Tyrone Reeves. I'm maintenance here. I've been here about a year. What I do is make sure everything in the building is fixed, taken care of. Do a lot of walking. We run around, make sure everything is just taken care of. So whenever you see me, if you need anything, just get my attention and I'll follow you to whatever you need. So I work with Joseph, but he's not here. He's getting married right now. Well, he's married. This is kind of off guard. I ain't had no bacon and eggs, so but yeah, so I'm maintenance. You know, I'm around. I'm around. You could, if I'm not around, you could call the maintenance phone, and I always have that. So yep, that's what else do we do? Well, right now we working upstairs on the 3rd floor in an apartment, do a lot of painting. Everything I do here, I pretty much do at home. I do a lot of work at home. So garbage, you know, just regular man work. So if you need me, just call the maintenance phone, or if you see me in the hallway, just get my attention. Thank you.
I'm Keisha Betts. I've been here 22 years, receptionist. I help with everything. I do maintenance as well. Just whatever anyone needs, I'm filling in. If it's a leak in the roof, I'm running to get a garbage to hold it up there. But yeah, anything that anyone needs, I'm kind of like a octopus, you know. I can do a lot of things for whoever needs my help. And you all know me, I'm pretty sure. So, you know, if you ever want to talk or need a hug or whatever, I'm here for you. So I appreciate you all.
Hello, I'm Andrea Pacone. I'm still kind of new, not really though. Been here 6 months in October. And my background, actually, I'm an art therapist. And I used to work in child welfare for about 7-8 years. And then I specialized in grief and loss at a funeral home that I worked for another 6 years. And so I primarily work with families and children around trauma for a long, long time. And then the pandemic, of course, upheavaled everyone's life. And I had to stop doing group work, which I absolutely loved. But then I went into also mental health consultation for childcare centers. So before I was here, I used to go doing some consultation in our all local centers around, working with the directors and the workers that were still working through the pandemic and struggling immensely during that time. So it was intense work, and I do have a young child now, and he's 8 years old, and he's my entire life. So taking a different line of work, administrative assisting, bookkeeping, and then event planning. So I'm the bookkeeper, but I also book all the events for the public. Is it? Oh. And all of our tenants. So Spiritus Christi, Hawk Sign, all new people coming into the building. And I'm really also forming relationships with everybody here, which is my specialty. That is my background. And I really love doing that because I think relationship building is really the connection that, not just brings people together, but it helps solve some issues too when you're more connected and you know each other a little bit better. So this has been a great transition I love to learn bookkeeping and QuickBooks, and that's just who I am. I like to keep on growing no matter how old I get. And Tyrone forgot to tell you, he's an incredible cook. And he's very generous. So you didn't say that. Like, he's really generous with his food. So he comes down and gives me and Keisha some food. But what was great is just Tyrone, Keisha, Joseph that have been here for so long. They really take you under your wing when you're brand new. And I really, really appreciated that because as a new person, you don't know anybody. And that was a really, really big help to making me feel really comfortable and welcome here.
You are new weekend receptionist, Kelly Nunez-Meyer.
This is our new weekend receptionist, Kelly. Your last name? We're all gonna have to learn to spell that.
I'm Kelly. I just started last Sunday. Thank you for welcoming me and accepting me. I have 17 years in the city of Rochester, currently hold the executive assistant to city council itself. It includes 9 council members, 9 aides, 7 staff. Part of that position there is all their fiscal, all their bill paying, all their administrative supports, and direct contact with a lot of the constituents within the city of Rochester. My role here will be weekend receptionist. So I will catch on very quickly with Andrea and with Keisha, and hopefully know each and every one of y'all personally. Any questions you have, let me know. I also have a background in zoning, have a background in event planning, and a background within special events itself. I am Latina, so I do speak both languages. I read, write, speak, and translate. And I think that's pretty much a quick recap of who I am. Thank you. Yes.
Sally is an honorary member of our staff group. She's been filling in a lot of gaps for us in this last year, I would say, or at least since January. So we'd love to hear from you too, Sally.
Okay. I'm going to the theater later because I have to work Frozen today for 2 shows. But I right now am doing the bulletin and the newsletter. And I love doing the newsletter. I love working in publisher. It's like my joy. And I enjoy doing the bulletin too. That's a little more cut and paste type of things, but there's a lot of things sometimes that we do that we have to fit in and find space for things and then figure out how to make everything lay out. I just want to say that I love all these people. Keisha's daughter came into me the other day because I had left something on the coffee machine and she handed it. She said, "Hi, Miss Sally, is this yours?" And it was so sweet. I love that. And yes, Tyrone is a wonderful cook. We had a picnic in July and he's awesome. And Andrea, we're going to tap your art skills and everything else. And so we got lots of great event planner background here, which is wonderful. And I enjoy working and coming in little bits and pieces here and there. So thanks. And you all know me anyway.
Well, thank you for the wonderful job on the bulletin boards. They look fabulous.
I'm going to also introduce you today. Many of you may already know Robin Schultz. She's our Sunday school teacher. She's been here for a couple weeks anyways, right? So Robin, if you don't mind saying a few things about yourself.
This is week 3, I think, right?
Yeah. Sounds about right. All righty. I did not know I was going to speak about myself, so I didn't not plan it.
Sorry about that.
If I have to say this, I just came from like helping out at a breakfast at my work. So if I smell like bacon and pancakes, that is why. Do not be alarmed. You're not going crazy. So I just graduated from Nazareth College back in May with a degree in religious studies and political science. And I'm attending Union Theological Seminary pursuing a master's degree in social justice. So I'm a busy person. So I worked previously in an organization called Child Evangelism Fellowship. I'm from Pennsylvania, so it's like a Pennsylvania organization. So it's okay that y'all don't know. But I worked with that. I was a summer missionary for a year, and then I volunteered as like a day camp counselor probably for like 5 years. So I've been working with kids through kindergarten to 12 years old. Basically ever since I aged out of that. So when I was 13, like all the way till I graduated high school. And I just have this passion for children. I love working with children. It was honestly going to be my back plan if religious studies and political science didn't work out to be a teacher. So it's cool to also have like a Sunday school teacher and also pursuing my master's in social justice. So I love this work and I'm excited to keep on doing it. That's because I have been here for 3 weeks, so it is still new.
And tell the folks about what your weekday job is.
I'm a church admin at a Glory House International, which is on North Chestnut Street. So I help out and I do what Keisha does here.
You have questions, has this raised questions that you'd like to ask? I'll pass the mic around and Eileen can.
I'm intrigued, Tyrone, about what you're getting the 3rd floor apartment ready for.
If I'm not mistaken, we're getting it ready for the assistant mayor. Or I don't know who we get. I don't know. I don't know what we're getting ready for.
About the assistant mayor. That sounds great though, Tyrone. I love that answer. No, we are under contract with Hannah Realty to lease some vacant space here. at the church when we first had learned that Spiritus was going to be looking at some other church options for a home of their own. So we started to get that apartment ready for a potential new occupant. So maintenance has been painting, repairing, cleaning, in anticipation if another tenant comes along, it's more ready. So we're doing things that are affordable, that are more aesthetic in nature, not major renovation. If a tenant comes along and wants a major renovation, then they can help us fund that. But for now, we're doing what we have time to do and what we can afford. So we're freshening.
Well, it looks good, like assistant mayor is coming, is gonna be in. That's what I'm looking for.
Much way better.
That's what I'm looking for.
Okay, Tyrone's answer is much better. I did want to just add one more thing, if I may. I was actually gonna give you a little jab to have you talk about it, Andrea, but we have a group called the Rochester Community of Friends, or a Quaker organization, and they're considering permanently joining us on Sundays as another building partner or building tenant. So they are here this Sunday. You should see them in the Halleck Lounge, maybe on your way in or on your way out this afternoon. And it looks, they're going to try us out this Sunday and next Sunday, see if it meets their needs. And if they like it, then they are looking at a long-term lease, maybe starting in January. So I just wanted you to know who those new faces that you're likely going to be seeing today.
We have a visitor this morning from the Quaker community.
Yeah, Lauren would like to add, yes.
So just for those of you that might not know, Quakers worship in silence. So they will be in the Halleck Lounge. Andrea has created a sign that said, "Worship in progress, please be quiet." So I know you want to welcome them, but don't just go barging in there and wait until like they open the door or something. By the way, FYI, we've also asked Andrea to create a sign for outside Vera's door that says, "Worship in progress, please be quiet," because there's been a lot of noise from folks coming and going outside, not outside the sanctuary. So FYI, who did I steal this from?
Yeah, you keep this one and I'll take.
This is a question for Eileen. It's actually a building and properties question. So I happened to have a conversation recently with some theater groups that are interested in rehearsal space. And my understanding is Celebration Hall, the theater there, it's being upgraded or improved.
I think there's, and this is all preliminary, but there is consensus with the at least the building and property committee, but other members and committees as well, that Celebration Hall is very overdue for a renovation along the lines of the Shaw and the Halleck Lounge. We have some additional challenges with Celebration Hall, and why it needs to be more major is because there's some significant leaking when there's heavy rainfalls. When Keisha mentioned moving buckets, she wasn't just saying that as like an assistant mayor response. It was because we really are grabbing buckets, including Keisha. So there's a significant leak over the stage. There's one in the middle of the room and there's one back in the kitchen area. So it's not necessarily a refresh in the same way we're doing the third floor apartment. It's a major renovation. We also would like to put HVAC in that room so we can use it all year long, that there's air conditioning and ventilation. When they redid the roof, I understand about 7 years ago, long time ago, but semi-recently in the lives of roofs, they took out the ventilation. There was never air conditioning, but there was always a ventilation fan. So for whatever reason, they chose to just re-roof without reinstalling or correcting the ventilation in that room, which probably was a great decision until COVID and we needed heightened ventilation. And in that room, we keep the garage doors open, we run fans for that reason. So there's appropriate renovation. So I'm just probably saying too much, except that it's more of a major renovation. We'd like to seriously consider air conditioning in that room, reinstalling the ventilation, fixing the roof leaks, and then all the refreshings that you see around here for Celebration Hall. So in the 2023 budget that the session passed, we do have an amount of money for an architect, not to do it, but just to say how much would it cost to develop a plan? So I have with Carol Snook, I've met with a couple architects now, and one person has gotten back to us with just an estimate of what it would cost to put a proposal together for us. So it's very great question. It's very preliminary, but I have been talking about it quite a lot to anyone that is interested and wants to listen. Oh, yes. Yes. So we have two theater groups that are tenants of ours. There's the Off Monroe Players and Open Road Theater. And then we have another theater group that just comes and uses our space like per room, not as a lease. And what's the name of that group? Do you recall? No, Borg Quinn is no longer a tenant of ours. Yes, after COVID, they found out they weren't using their space. They did stay with us beyond that, but it was really mostly for storage. So they did decide to give up that space relatively recently. But there's another group that uses us just for when they're doing rehearsals.
Eileen, is the Halleck Lounge renovation, does that include any renovation in the back dining room or kitchen?
You mean Celebration Hall, right? Just in case I
Yes,
misspoke.
yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yes, not the commercial kitchen itself, but yes, that back dining room in terms of an updated flooring and updated, I call it millwork, but you know, the storage cabinetry that's in that room. So it's, and then we're also looking at something different from the garage doors. So some other way that we can keep the space either as one big room or separate rooms in a way that is a little more aesthetically pleasing than those big overhead doors. But good.
For Tyrone.
All right.
Okay, I'm a greeter at the front door
Uh-huh.
a couple times a month, and one of the doors won't stay open at all. I have to try to use all kinds of things to make it stay open. So it's this two-part door. One is fine. The other one has a little fixture on it that doesn't hold it open. If that fixture could be fixed, it'd be a big help.
Where is this at?
At the front door. Yep.
Oh, the two flapping doors. Okay. Okay. I'll take care of it.
Thank you.
That's what happens when you say, call me.
Actually, especially working with the Sunday Forum group, we're aware of other things that haven't been mentioned. Sunday mornings, our maintenance people are out in the wintertime, shoveling snow, spreading ice melt, and with a long ramp as well. They do the signs out front and are very good at taking long words and squishing them together so that hopefully people during the week will see what's happening up here at Sunday Forum and maybe attract a few people. We've done that in the past. Sunday morning is very busy because you've got, when you're here on Sunday morning, you've got to roll out the coffee, tea, get things going, move them downstairs. So that, and I'm sure there's many other things going on that that we just don't have awareness of. Keisha, when she's been at the front desk, has been very good at, we recorded the Sunday Forums on our CDs, and She magically copies them and now is putting them on electronically. And so this may be Kelly's job now, if she's our Sunday morning receptionist. Dave McDowell and Don Fairman will train you if you haven't been trained yet and how to handle these kinds of things. So those are other duties that you do that haven't come up yet. And so we thank you both for all those things and all the things that are hidden to us, but get done and keep things going smoothly. So thank you all.
Tyrone, did you want to say something? Oh, you're welcome. Yes, thank you, thank you. We all thank you. Some more questions? Any other questions?
This is just a comment. I looked at the newsletter yesterday and thought, this is so professional and well done and colorful, and your enjoyment of it comes through because I really enjoyed reading it this time. So thank you very much.
There was another hand. Was that you, Ronnie?
This is a quick one. Kelly, I did not understand your last name, and I understand that you are bilingual, but I didn't get the language that you're bilingual, and my hearing is not the best.
So,
Mike.
so in Spanish language, in the Spanish language, my last name is pronounced Muñiz. The N is called the tilde. And my married name is Miles, so it's Muñiz Miles. Muniz. So in English, it's sometimes pronounced Munaz or Months, but it's actually Muñiz.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We're good at trying to get things right, but we don't always get it right. We'll work at it. Muniz. Muñiz. Let's all say it together. Muñiz. Is that right? Was that close?
So is the church actively trying to get more tenants? Do we have more space? The answer is yes.
I would like to particularly welcome the Quaker Friends, I hope that works out. Most of you know we have had a long and very wonderful relationship with the Friends, especially through RAIN. And we miss you all dreadfully. So having your presence in the building on Sundays would just be delightful.
Yeah, I'm used to sleeping over with the Quakers. Yeah, how about that?
In regards to the use of the building too, I was just sort of piggybacking the tenant. How does one, and are we reaching out to have just general events or publicity bits happening here for the news or radio stations and things like that?
We
Thank you.
haven't made any concrete plan at this point. Am I on? So we haven't, but we've talked quite a bit about extensive marketing in terms of advertising and our website.
Can we catch Ed before he leaves and introduce him? We just want to introduce you.
Ed, come on up here. Ed, come up here. You got your hair cut. Your hair's all cut. I tried. So we're not doing anything active, but our tenants have typically come through word of mouth. The Quakers have had a longstanding relationship with us, and Sarah Romig is the daughter of one of our former pastors. And in their search for space, they thought of Doopsy and made a phone call. So we've been pretty busy just from that, but we have been talking about doing some special events ourselves, as well as what our marketing strategy should be in the future. Right now, I think we're stabilizing as a staff group.
I'm part of the web team, which has worked by sort of fits and starts. And we did an audit of the site, and we had somebody that we thought was going to be able to help us with that, and that didn't work out. So we need to revisit that. So hearing about marketing, I think we have real estate on our site to be able to market weddings and events and all of that sort of stuff too.
Yes, the plan for that, Nancy, is that I'm going to take over those responsibilities in line with that document that we went over a couple months ago.
Yeah.
If you don't mind resending that to
I'd be
me,
happy
so
to.
it's at the very top of I've been meaning to ask you, so I'm glad you asked
Okay,
that today.
I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
The other thing I'm thinking about is I haven't been in the kitchen in a while, but the last time I was in there, I was like, ew. And I just wondered, could we have a kitchen cleanup day and have we could volunteer and come in, because it's a little
scrungy. It needs a full scrub. I agree.
Yeah. And I don't know if because of insurance things, we're not allowed to, but it would seem like that would be a project, a Saturday project that we could come and clean.
Thank you.
it.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd come help with them.
You know, that suggestion raises another possibility. Community kitchens are not readily available, and it conceivably could be used as a licensed community kitchen.
Yeah.
It's
an excellent prep area. Everything is we have one thing that's malfunctioning at the moment, but there's a plan for its repair. So, but it's a nice commercial equipment with a lot of prep space with all the right equipment. So yes, definitely a food bank or anyone that does food prep would be a great space for them.
Interesting idea.
Yeah, didn't Spiritus Christi put on a huge lunch for I think they called migrant lunch, and they had all the tables in Celebration Hall, and I'm guessing that they were in the kitchen.
Right. They also do, I'm not sure if it's monthly, but they do periodic spaghetti dinners in the kitchen too. I think it's monthly. Getting some feedback.
They actually talked about when they were having that dinner for the asylum seekers, I talked to the woman, she was at the door and she's their planning person. And I said, oh, it would be great if we could join you in this. And she said, yeah, that would be great. So maybe at some point in time we can work together with them because I think they want to do more of those types of events with the asylum seekers to offer meal or that sort of thing.
Gee, that'd be wonderful if we could help.
That seems like a perfect collaboration with the Justice Committee, which I know is not on the list of committees, but there are few of us, and we're kind of limiting what we can do right now. You have gotten, I'm sure, a lot of messages in eConnect because we're few and we're more mature. I'm not going to say older, but that seems like a thing that the Justice Committee could help steer.
It's a great idea. Joan?
What are Spiritus's plans? Are they moving in quickly, or are they going to be with us for a while?
They're going to be with us for a little while. They chose not to move forward with that church that was at 208 Child Street. They were exploring renovation costs, and I think they realized it was going to be more expensive than they realized given the renovations that the property needed. So they want to stay short term. They are looking to enter into a year's lease beginning January 1st, but they want an exit clause in that lease. So if they were to find another church home of their own, that they could graciously get out of that lease without having to pay the whole year. So so it's going to be like a month-to-month lease because they can exit at any time, but they will be signing a year's lease. And I anticipate even if they find a perfect church that they want to purchase, it takes many months. So if they're with us for 3 or 4 or 6 months and buying a new church and getting resettled takes another 3 or 4 months, it's very likely they could be with us the whole year. So they're looking for another church home of their own.
I know there have been discussions about housing a migrant family here with Spiritus Christi and wondered where we are with that.
I'm working through that with the Space Use Committee, and we're struggling because this Institute building where that apartment that Tyrone referenced is located, which is set up like a private residence, but it's not, it's within this building. So to have a public family living here 24/7 with their, family and guests coming in and out of the building, they'd be coming through the whole building. So simultaneously, we'd like to explore, there's some space in the Allen Street building that does have a kitchenette and a restroom facility and a private entrance, which I think is the biggest obstacle that we're working with, is how do we get them from A to B without going through and having access to the entire building. So we haven't talked to Spiritus, but you asked, so I'm talking about it now. Yes. So we want to talk to Spiritus to say, is this something that you would be interested in? And then look kind of in parallel tracks at both those locations, but it's just not in terms of building safety and security and the investment we'd need to make that apartment usable by the public. I think it was an apartment back in the day, but it was for like a building super, somebody that was an employee of the building that lived here because they kept track of all the residents that were living here. I will answer another question that you haven't asked Nancy, but David. No, I don't know, but David Lee asked it, and it's related because the Institute building, I like a group living facility where people had their own bedrooms. Then they had a recreational space in the basement, and they ate in the kitchen and they used the commercial for big meals. So David Lee is like, well, why can't we restore it to that purpose? And I responded that is not how people live anymore in those boarding house type settings. So it's not that we couldn't do that in the Institute building in the future, but we would have to do a major renovation so that people had their own, like studios, had their own kitchenette, bathrooms, like that style of having the shared restroom, the shared kitchen and shared living is just not the way that any homeless agencies are setting up, their properties any longer. People are more individual than they were perhaps. So, but there is funding and for a major task like that. So there is government funding. It's low income tax credits. If you want to go in that direction and return to that purpose, I think just the building facility would have to change some, but everything's possible.
Eileen, you mentioned that you were an alcoholism and drug.
Yes.
Yeah. So a drug rehab, an addiction rehab
Right.
would be along that model.
Absolutely. And that's why I have some experience, like where we get funding sources from. And there's quite a bit of economic development money, as well as that low income tax credit. You partner with a developer for resources to do the renovations. And then there's money for housing right now. It is about a 2 or 3 year project from start to finish, but it is what a lot of agencies are getting. I think it's the New York State Home and Community. I'd have to look up the name of the government agency, but it's like New York State Home and Community something is the major funding source. You've probably seen renovations with that sign. Now that I've mentioned it, you'll see the big sign. But there is a lot of development money. There's a lot of money going into housing right now.
I have a question just about the chart, and somebody just brought it up, but Justice Nancy brought up. I'm wondering why DEIB is under operations, and is justice considered other ad hoc? Is that what that means? Or just
You got me to blame for all the problems on there. Somebody asked me to put together an organization chart, and I don't think anybody's ever thought about that. And so it was needed soon, ASAP, I guess. And so I put this together best I could as memory, and then sent it around and said, anybody have any other thoughts? And but it can be updated, and it should be the major oversight in terms of specifics. In the first draft, we didn't have the positions under maintenance, and we didn't have any of those detailed. So that came back as one of the changes. But please, if you see ways to improve it, let me know. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Now that we have an organizational chart, we can work on it, making it right. Yeah. Turns out to be a good thing to have. And thank you for doing it ASAP, because that's right. I was the one pushing. I think if there's one more question, or if not, we're at the end of our time, I think.
I can't let this opportunity go without saying, I think it's very obvious we have a wonderful staff, and we have much to appreciate. They take responsibility for what it is that needs doing, and they understand where we're trying to go, and they bring incredible talents, including best chef.
I do think we have the best newsletter of any church in the community. I know we don't compete, but we would win.
I'm just delighted to hear about some of the projects we're considering, and it felt like the energy in the room came up around that. And I'm wondering, I know you would get 1,000 responses with everybody with their opinion, but it would seem like it might be helpful for the congregation to know that these opportunities we're reviewing them. It seems, I was delighted to hear about it.
I don't know the best forum for that, but I absolutely could do a more detailed eConnect message, just like a general, maybe fall. Oh yeah, we'll do
or a
something in the
newsletter.
Yeah, good idea.
And I'm just excited to have Kelly listening to all the things that you are trained in and do. It's really exciting to have you on board. I'm sure we'll tap some of your talents as well. And the fact that you're very fluently bilingual in Spanish is also awesome.
Thank you.
Well, I'm hoping that we'll all have a chance to get to know each other better, and that this is a beginning of doing so. And at the very least, as we see the staff and say, hi, good morning, we'll have a sense of connection, because we've had a chance to know a little bit more about what you do and who you are. And hopefully you've gotten a little bit of a sense of us too this morning. We hope so. So thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.